Hitler was my friend. That's how Heinrich Hoffmann titled his memoirs. And he wasn't lying. A trusted companion, one of the first members of the National Socialist Party, Hoffmann photographed the Führer for over 20 years and became part of his inner circle. He saw much, captured even more, and revealed the rest in his memoirs. In this episode, we'll uncover the untold stories from Adolf Hitler's life, witnessed firsthand by Hoffmann himself. You'll learn why one photo of a young Nazi leader was worth a fortune to photo agencies. How a single bullet to the heart helped Eva Braun win Hitler's affection, and why the dictator lived in fear of one ridiculous thing: being photographed in his underwear. A difficult target. Send a photo of Adolf Hitler immediately. Stop, we'll pay $100. That was the telegram Heinrich Hoffmann received on October 30, 1922, from an American photo agency. The payment stunned him. After all, a photo of the German President Friedrich Ebert only fetched $5 at the time. Hoffmann accepted the assignment, soon realizing why the offer was so generous. Hitler never allowed anyone to photograph him. It was a deliberate move. People who had merely heard or read about the fiery young politician came to his rallies out of curiosity, just to see him with their own eyes. Many left those gatherings as devoted followers of National Socialism. But Hoffmann knew that he didn't need Hitler's permission to get the shot. Right next to his photo studio stood the office of the party newspaper, Völkischer Beobachter, the People's Observer. He waited patiently for Hitler to arrive. When the moment came, Hoffmann positioned his camera by the exit and, click, the shutter snapped. "Thank God I got it," he thought. But in the next instant, rough hands grabbed his wrist. 3 of Hitler's guards lunged at him. One clamped his fingers around Hoffmann's throat. A fierce struggle broke out, a desperate fight to save his precious camera, the one thing he refused to let go. Yet the odds were hopelessly against him. I watched as the guards removed the film and destroyed it. Another chance wouldn't come for months. Hoffmann met Hitler again at a mutual friend's wedding. They spoke for a long time, about art, not politics. Hitler promised that when he finally allowed himself to be photographed, the first shot would belong to Hoffmann. But please, Hitler added, from now on, refrain from taking any pictures without my permission. Hoffmann agreed, and right before Hitler's eyes, he smashed the glass plate containing the secret photo he had taken earlier that day. From that moment, Hitler became a frequent guest at Hoffmann's home. But his loyalty went unrewarded. The following year, a reporter from another agency managed to photograph the Nazi leader first and escaped the guards unharmed. Speaking of photographs, let's talk about the money behind them. At that time, $1 was worth nearly 20 times more than it is today. For just $5, you could buy 7 kilograms of ham in the U.S., and the $100 offered for Hitler's photo? That was about a firefighter's monthly salary. My fiancé is Germany, Hitler liked to say. Love affairs never truly shaped his life. Politics always came first. It's no wonder that several of his lovers tried, or even succeeded, in taking their own lives. Eva Braun, the most famous among them, would one day become his wife. Their marriage ended not with champagne, but with cyanide. And the man who introduced them? None other than Heinrich Hoffmann. In 1930, a 19-year-old girl found work as Heinrich Hoffmann's assistant. She still carried a trace of childlike innocence. Blue eyes, a round face framed by dark blonde hair. She was what Hoffmann later described as pleasantly pretty, like a girl on a box of chocolates, charming but unremarkable. It was at Hoffmann's studio that Eva Braun first met Adolf Hitler, who often dropped by to visit his photographer. The leader of the NSDAP enjoyed the company of the cheerful young woman. He would chat with her, offer compliments, sometimes bring small gifts, flowers, sweets, a trinket or two, but nothing more. To Eva, however, even those gestures felt like love. She convinced herself that Hitler was in love with her, and that a wedding was only a matter of time. Then, one summer day in 1932, Hoffmann recalled, Eva didn't show up for work. It turned out that the night before, she had tried to shoot herself, heartbroken over Hitler's indifference. The wound wasn't fatal, but the story deeply unsettled Hitler. Barely a year had passed since his beloved niece, Gaily Raubel, had taken her own life. "Doctor, tell me the truth," Hitler demanded. "Do you think Fräulein Braun shot herself just to play the patient and get my attention?" "The shot was aimed directly at the heart," the doctor replied gravely. When the doctor left, Hitler began pacing the room in silence. Then he stopped and turned to Hoffmann. "You heard, Hoffmann," he said, visibly shaken. "The girl did it because she loves me, but I never gave her any reason to act like this." He fell quiet again, thinking aloud more than speaking. "I suppose now I'll have to look after her, but that doesn't mean I'll marry her." And yet, despite his words, Eva Braun had achieved what she wanted. She became Hitler's companion. In the summer of 1937, the House of German Art in Munich was preparing to open its first major exhibition. Out of more than 8,000 submitted works, a commission of 12 professors was tasked with selecting the best. Just days before the opening, Hitler decided to inspect the exhibition himself. He left furious and nearly ordered the event canceled. "The works displayed make one thing clear," he said coldly. "Germany has no artists worthy of exhibiting in this magnificent building." It was Heinrich Hoffmann who convinced him not to abandon the project. Hoffmann took charge of the jury himself. He knew Hitler's tastes and could predict what would please him. The Führer despised everything avant-garde, modernism, impressionism, or any experimental style. To him, such paintings were nothing but degenerate art. Perhaps this hatred stemmed from his own past, twice rejected by the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, where modernists dominated the scene. Still, Hoffmann made one last attempt to defend modern art. He selected about 1,500 classical works that he knew Hitler would approve of. But he also kept one room reserved for modern paintings. "When we entered that hall together," Hoffmann later recalled, "my heart was pounding." Hitler stopped before a painting by a well-known Munich artist. Then he turned to Hoffmann. "Who hung this here?" he asked sharply. "Jaeger," Hoffmann replied. "And that one?" "Also Jaeger, my Führer. I selected all of them myself." "Remove this nonsense!" Hitler snapped and stormed out of the hall in rage. After that, Hoffmann remained head of the selection committee for the annual Great German Art Exhibition. He filled its halls with paintings so conventional that Joseph Goebbels, in his diary, mocked them as Munich schoolboy kitsch. Meanwhile, the regime decided to sell off the confiscated degenerate art abroad. This project, too, was placed under Hoffmann's control. By the end of World War II, he had amassed a collection of 258 works, seized in Germany and bought cheaply across occupied Europe. After the war, the victors accused him of profiting from wartime art trade. Hoffmann was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Heinrich Hoffmann recalled that Hitler's greatest fear was to appear ridiculous in the public eye. Whenever he bought a new suit or hat, he would first have his picture taken, then carefully study the photos. Only after making sure that the outfit truly suited him would the Führer dare to wear it in public. He was deeply embarrassed by the days when he wore traditional Bavarian leather shorts and ordered all photos of him in that outfit removed from circulation. Hitler was extremely self-conscious about his body. Convincing him to lie down for an X-ray was a struggle. Before any medical exam or injection, he would first dismiss his attendants from the room, then undress only as much as absolutely necessary. His paranoia about being seen, or worse, photographed in his underwear, bordered on obsession. He vividly remembered how the former German president Friedrich Ebert and War Minister Gustav Noske had been ridiculed after a photo surfaced of them posing in swimwear. As for bare-chested appearances, Hitler despised them. So when Hoffmann once suggested building a private swimming pool at the Beerhof residence, Hitler declined. "I already live in fear," he said, "that some cunning trickster will paste my head onto a body in swimming trunks." For Hitler, anything could become a reason for embarrassment. Once, he rejected a photo showing him with Eva Braun and her Scottish terrier, declaring, "A great statesman cannot afford to be photographed with a small dog." In one of Hoffmann's memoirs, he also mentions accompanying Hitler at the Werwolf headquarters in Ukraine. As grim reports from Stalingrad began to arrive, Hoffmann was stunned to hear Hitler speak with contempt about his own officers, calling them cowards whom he would never again allow near his table. The rise and fall of this man, his path, his triumphs, and his delusions would later be examined in the book Hitler, Notes for a Biography by German historian Sebastian Haffner. A short work, yet it became a bestseller. And don't forget to like this video. In April 1945, Heinrich Hoffmann visited Hitler's bunker for the last time. After Germany's surrender, he was arrested by the Americans. At the Nuremberg trials, Hoffmann was initially placed among the main defendants. But through a series of appeals, he managed to reduce his sentence from 10 years to just 4. That curious leniency sparked rumors that Hoffmann had secretly been a Soviet intelligence agent. To this day, historians can neither prove nor completely dismiss that theory. After his release in 1950, Hoffmann settled in a small village near Munich, where he lived for another 7 years. During that time, he wrote his memoirs. In them, he never denied his friendship with Hitler, though he tried to rewrite his own past, claiming to be apolitical. I cared nothing for Hitler the Führer or Hitler the Chancellor of the Third Reich, he wrote. But Adolf Hitler the man remained my friend from our first meeting to the day of his death.